Okay, in today's video, we're going to talk about metabolic adaptation, what it is, and what you can do about it. Before that, if you have not become a member yet, go ahead and click on the link in the profile or the comments or wherever you're seeing this. Go to direct.me/reshape and select the Become a Client option. That gives you access to written workouts, meal plans, community forums, discussion boards, lots of tools, ways to track your progress along the way. So much there, I can't even say it all, but $1 a day. Okay, $30 a month, become a remote coaching client. Join the F.A.S.T Track program that's going on right now. That's Fat Adaptive Strength Training. That's an online course that I'm creating, and you are actually watching part of that course right now. Okay, metabolic adaptation. Simple definition. When you eat less fat and carbohydrate, your body senses there's a drop in dietary energy coming in and it slows you down. That's adaptation. If you continue to burn more energy than you're taking in every day, eventually you would starve to death, and your body knows that. So this is a protective mechanism to prevent starvation, basically. All right, we're trying to bring fat out of storage. In order to do that, you must have an energy deficit or a calorie deficit. End of sentence. There has to be a difference in the amount of energy coming in and the energy going out, and your body's going to make up the difference by pulling it out of body fat, theoretically. All right. So in order to do that, here's the key though. You do have to be in an energy deficit, but you don't have to be in an energy deficit all the time. You can have what I do 5 days a week, very low energy intake, mostly from carbohydrate, 2 days a week, higher amounts of carbohydrate, higher energy intake. It's almost like a calorie cycle. Let's just say your maintenance is in the middle. You're going to have days where you're in about a 300 calorie deficit and days that you're in a 300 surplus. Okay. So you don't always have to be in a deficit. But after a while, what happens is your metabolism slows down to match the amount you come in. Most people think, oh, let me exercise more and eat less. Okay. When you do that, you just create more of a deficit. You create more of an adaptation. Eventually, you're in a rut. You don't know how to get out of it. I've been there. I crashed my metabolism a few years ago, and I had a rebound weight gain, which has never happened to me before or since. I want to explain what I did and why and how I did it, and then how I reversed it so that you don't make that same mistake. Okay, so I found out about ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting, and I did it all at once. I jumped in both feet, and I was fasting every day, and I was eating like 1 or 2 meals a day at the end of the day. I had tons of energy. I was bouncing off the walls, working out a couple times a day, going for long walks in the neighborhood, taking kids to the playground, push mowing the yard, all this stuff. Haven't eaten anything all day. Okay, felt great. All right, after a while, I started to not feel so great. I wasn't eating enough protein, first of all. A lot of people got the wrong idea about the ketogenic diet. The clinical ketogenic diet is for epileptic patients. It's not for fit, active people like us trying to maximize body composition. If you are weight training, you need more protein. More protein will not interrupt ketosis. The only thing required for a ketogenic diet is that you're eating very low carbohydrate, period. That's it. End of sentence. Okay. Fat and protein, you can toggle whichever way you want. You can be a little higher on fat some meals with moderate protein. Other meals, you can be high protein with moderate fat. Carbohydrate, very low. Okay. What I'm asking you to do is 5 days in a row, very low carbohydrate, aiming for 25 grams or less per day. 2 days a week on the weekend, there's a refeed window. There is a window, okay? That's 1 or 2 meals on Friday, 1 or 2 meals on Saturday that contain more carbs. Yes, this is your chance to have some of your favorite little cheat meals and junk food. If you want to have some pizza or ice cream or French fries or cookies or cereal or whatever, that's the time to do it. In a short controlled window, it's not going to do that much damage because your body doesn't have time to adjust. We're trying to set the metabolism to high. Okay, those high energy intake days, that's where you want your metabolism to raise up to match that point so that your low calorie, low carb days, low energy days, fasting days later on down on the road, those are going to be your deficit, your fat loss days. Okay, if that becomes the norm and you just low carb every day for the rest of your life, your metabolism is going to slow way down to match what you got coming in. You need some variance. Okay. Your metabolism thrives on this variety. You got high days, you got low days, you got fasting days, you got feasting days, you got rest days, you got training days. Everything's always in motion like that. It's not confusion per se. It's just that your body doesn't have a chance to catch up. Okay. When we're doing these low calorie, low carb days, we're trying to create a deficit. On the high calorie days, we're trying to reset. There are a lot of hormones that regulate appetite and energy expenditure that need those influxes of food to prove to your body that there's not a famine. You're not starving, that there's actually some food around. Okay, I don't know how many times I've seen people that the metabolism is at a crawl. They're eating once or twice a day, very small meals, working out all the time. There's nowhere to go. You can't create more of an energy deficit from that scenario. You can't possibly eat less than you already are. You're not eating anything as it is. How can you exercise more when you're working out every day and doing cardio every day and your weight loss is resistant? You've got to reset your metabolism. The way you do that is it's called a reverse diet. You start eating a little more. You can't just suddenly go from where you are to eating normally or eating a lot every single day. You will get fat. That's what happened to me. I crashed my metabolism. And then I got tired of it, and I finally started eating like a normal person again. And it was right around Thanksgiving. So that week, in particular, there was a lot going on. And then just week after that, started gaining body fat, 1 or 2 pounds, 2 or 3 pounds. And I gained like 15, 20 pounds. And it took about a year to get back out of it, to get my metabolism back to where it was. So you don't want to be down here to crawl all the time. You don't want to suddenly go from nothing to everything all at once. You scale it up incrementally. You add a little fat and a little carbohydrate maybe, and make sure you're getting your protein. That's critical because protein is not metabolized as dietary energy. We're not going to store it as fat, but it proves to our body that there is food in the environment. And that's a key. When you're getting protein every 4 hours throughout the day, your body knows you're not starving. If you're not eating a lot of fat or a lot of carbohydrate along with that protein, you're still going to burn body fat for most of your energy needs. You're not going to metabolize that protein as energy. So that's step one. Give your body protein every 4 hours, aiming for about 30 grams for women, 40 grams for men, 50 grams if it's a big guy doing a lot of weight training. That's your averages per meal. You're aiming for 150 grams a day, ladies. Guys, you're aiming for 200 to 250 grams of protein per day. I take in 250 grams of protein a day. I've been doing that every day practically for about 10 years now. It's not going to harm you in any way. Okay, that's myth. Protein is not going to harm you. So that's step one. Get your protein in check. Once you got the protein coming in and you're reducing carbohydrate, especially refined and processed sources like sugar and flour, okay, once you're getting those things out of the picture, your appetite is not going to be crazy all over the place. A lot of what you thought was willpower is actually blood sugar surges causing appetite dysregulation. So when you don't have the insulin spikes and the blood sugar crashes anymore, a lot of that's going to resolve. Now, there's an essential amount of fat. It's probably your dietary fat intake. I don't want it crazy high, but it's probably higher than what you've been doing, especially if you're not going to be eating carbohydrates, which is what I recommend. 25 grams of carbs a day or less for men or women. That's about 5 grams per meal. That's a trace amount. Okay. That's something that might be a little bit in a protein bar or maybe in some yogurt or cottage cheese or from vegetables or something like that. It's not going to be half cup of rice or a cup of potatoes or like a full-on serving of a pure starch or a pure carb. Not during the week. Save that stuff for the weekends. Okay. During the week, 5 grams. That's a trace amount. Protein, like I said, 30 to 40, maybe even 50 grams. Okay. Fat intake is going to be somewhere around a half a gram per pound of ideal body weight, or about half. Your dietary energy is going to be about half your protein. So if you're going for 250 grams of protein, guys, your dietary energy is going to be 125 grams total. 25 is carbs. The other 100 is fat. So 100 grams of fat per day. Ladies, you're doing 150 grams of protein per day. Your fat for the day is going to be somewhere around 75 grams, 50 to 75 grams. So let's just say 50. You're going to divide that up over your 5 meals. That's 10 grams, okay? 10 to 15 grams per meal. Some of your meals may be zero fat. So your actual whole food, like dinner and breakfast, we'll say, could be upwards of 20 grams of fat. And that's really not a whole lot. An egg yolk is 5 grams. Tablespoon of any kind of fat that you want to name is about 5 or 10 grams. So we're not talking about a lot of fat. Prioritize your protein. Get your dietary energy from fat. Match that to your activity. If you're more active, you're going to need more. If you're trying to burn body fat, you're going to eat less dietary fat. That's key. Okay, carbohydrate, take it away for a little while, bring it back. It's going to have a performance enhancing effect. It's going to get stored in the muscle tissue as glycogen so you can train harder and have more energy. And it's going to allow you a little psychological break, and it's going to allow you to elevate your metabolism back up. So if you're stuck in that rut, eat more frequently, prioritize protein, slowly, incrementally start adding more energy from fat. Okay, your healthy fat sources. Most of your fat you need is going to come with your protein foods. Like I mentioned, an egg yolk here or there, maybe some fat from meat. Your monounsaturated heart healthy fats, the ones you want to really concentrate on, that's going to be from things like walnuts, almonds. Those are good sources. Avocados, olives, those are all monounsaturated fats. I wouldn't eat a lot of oil, and I would be careful of nuts, especially if they're salted, because they're easy to overeat. They do have a lot of energy in them from fat. And if we eat too much fat, we will store it as fat. So it's not a green light to eat all the fat, but if you're trying to increase your energy intake, do it from fat during the week. Add 5 or 10 grams here or there from the sources that I mentioned. If this is too much math and you're watching this video and you want to do this, click on the link in the profile, sign up for a membership, become a client. I'll give you a dashboard. It has macros on it. It has a meal plan with menus and recipes and all this great stuff, and we can take the guesswork out of it. You can take photos on Food Journal and upload them into the app, and I can go in and take a look at exactly what you're eating. How much are we talking about? That amount is a huge factor, so that when we do a follow-up consultation or body scan, or you step on your scale at home and your weight's not going anywhere and you want to help figuring it out, I have some records I can look at and help troubleshoot your program. That's all the time I have for today. Thanks for listening. If you got questions, put them in the comments. And until next time, stay strong and enjoy the journey.